As Africans were being dispersed across the world, this particular sculptor by models remastered some great iconography of Africans in the Caribbean, and those in the Caribbean. There's no difference between an African in the Caribbean at the time and an African in America. We're Africans living in those particular places with new environments. So each one of these are masterpieces of African by this sculptor, right? Who created lots of this art from actually living people, right, themselves. So he found living models, but was able to recreate a kind of iconography of how we live and how we looked and existed. So these are masterpieces. So we're happy to be here today to celebrate ourselves, right? Without all of these things being put on us through colonial enslavement and colonization and things like that. So these are masterpieces, as important as anything in Europe, right? Look at the artwork of the white marble and the dark marble. This particular, to be able to master this, right, this is a masterpiece of artistry. So in the Americas, we were still enslaved, right? So Carl Potts is able to recreate some images in the 1850s, but we were still enslaved in many places.
We're going to go on back to the pottery because you can come back and like staying here.
Was that wait? So this dispels the inferiority of African people being able to produce art of a high level, right? It just dispels those concepts. But at the same time, these people and these subjects are still, if not enslaved themselves, in semi-slavery in this time period, right? So we have all of these. We have an enormous amount of miseducation for all peoples in all cultures about the African. That the African was taken out of history, taken out of humanity. But the African is humanity. Very important part of history and humanity. The first peoples of this planet came from that continent. But for concepts of race and concepts of religious superiority and nation states, the African is relegated to a non-human, to something other than. And that is, but then you have great artists like this that, how can I say, pass the floor into the ceiling of our greatness. So this person is not a freedom fighter, this person is not a liberator. But yes, this person is, because they are form of the highest art form of any human being, right? With very, very hard, difficult structures to work with, right? So keep on, and then we're gonna go into our So in the French period, which is really interesting, you had kind of like a restorative movement, right? A reassessing movement. And so these concepts like this was going into the Liberty Age. America will fight the Civil War at some point, right? And these concepts of breaking free of chains, right, will ultimately influence the concepts of the Statue of Liberty, because the Statue of Liberty was given to the United States by France, right? So these liberty figures that was established in this period will be the precursor to the Statue of Liberty that New York holds so high about liberty, but they won't say it has anything to do directly with slavery. But the most important thing that was happening during this period was in fact enslavement and the freeing of slaves and the liberating of human beings. And France and Britain had a lot to do with those concepts, because they forced America to end the import, to pass the Act of 1808 to end to create the Act for the prohibition of the African slave trade. So they ended the trans-African slave trade, the triangle slave trade.
Yeah, the international element.
Right, they ended it. Right? And then America had to embrace it. So America is not the home of liberty and justice and all of that stuff. They acquired it from Europe.
Did they steal it?
No, they didn't steal it. But my man,
No, the
watch
idea.
this. But my man Equiano was a part of that. Even with some of his tales that were not necessarily true, he did nothing more than what the Bible did. He created tales. But those tales helped foster a reassessment of how Europeans look at Africans and freedom itself. And thus, here we are. They're just contrasting ancient Egypt to West Africa to say that they have some relationship between Egypt and West Africa.
West Africa.
4G. Get ready to go.
Okay. Tell my mama's done. I'm finna walk out. This is literally the best thing, like, to having a museum officially do this instead of an Afrocentrist do this and get criticized for it.